Do not try and bend the spoon. That's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth. There is no spoon. Hey! So that was a little bit of foreshadowing as to what we are doing today. Okay.
Yeah.
Today I thought we'll take something light. Now
Right.
this being the end of the year and everything.
Yeah.
I thought we'll do something light. Let me just switch cameras. All right. And let's recreate this matrix digital rain. Now this is technically called as the digital rain.
Right.
And there is not a lot of text on what this digital rain is supposed to basically convey. But have you read the Matrix comics?
No.
So the Matrix has like a whole set of I think about 8 to 10 comics they have.
Okay.
And in one of those comics, essentially what happens is these ships that navigate these sewers, they settle down to one place, and they can only do it at specific places because they need to tap into the Matrix network, and then they start getting these video feeds. And I think in one scene, Cypher explains what he's looking at. And he says the image translators work for the construct. The construct is where they learn all their kung fu, their guns and everything. But there is way too much information to decode the matrix, which is why they'll have to look at it encoded. Now, I've always thought that they're actually looking at images, but they're just not being processed fast. So think of this as being something like pixelated images. You can't make out the whole image, but you can probably see blondes, brunettes, and everything. So I think that's what they were referencing it, and I want to recreate this today.
Very interesting.
Now that being said, before we move on to the implementation, I want to show our viewers the giveaway that we have for this.
The giveaway, yes.
Yeah, the giveaway. All right.
Wow.
So there is something called as the Holocene calendar. All right. It's nothing but the current Gregorian year plus 10,000 years. All right.
Okay.
And it's called either the Holocene calendar or the Human Era calendar. And the Human Era calendar essentially marks the start when humans started settling down, left our hunter-gatherer lifestyle and started settling down into settlements, cities, civilizations, and all of those things.
Very nice.
Now, any year you take, any calendar you take, whether it is the Christian calendar or the Islamic calendar or the Hindu calendar. I think the Hindu calendar is like the most farthest. I think the current Hindu year is 2076.
Right.
The next year being 2077. But even those, they don't basically specify or they don't pay homage to all of the people who have settled and started civilization before them. So the Holocene calendar or the Human Era calendar is gives respect to all of those humans that came before us. They started,
and the advantage is we can just use it like any
there is nothing different from a regular calendar and a Holocene calendar. So the next year would be 12,021. This year would be 2020, and it also is like a very good conversation starter. If you have this hanging in your office or in your home, people are bound to get. I had a Holocene calendar in I think 2017, and it was always a conversation starter with my colleagues. They would like walk by and they would ask me, "Hey, why is it saying 12,017 instead of 2017?" And then you would go on to explain what this is and everything. So this is a calendar that we've designed on our own. All right, it has all of the Indian holidays marked and everything.
Very cool.
Yeah. It has a nice little explanation at the bottom.
Right.
Our logo and everything.
Very nice.
So anybody who comments on this video, the first 10 comments would essentially receive this. We would ship this to you as soon as it is shipped to us. I mean, it's still on the way to us, but we've printed about 10 calendars and 10 basically giveaway.
Wow,
for
so cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah. All right. So that being said, let's just get back to the matter at hand.
Right.
So the first thing I think everyone, when they start looking at the digital rain, the matrix digital rain is, what are these characters? apparently the directors just had a Japanese menu on their hand.
Oh, is
it
it?
was just a food takeaway menu, and I think
And
they were
they-
just characters from
Right,
that.
right.
They are technically called as katakana characters,
Okay.
and this is where we've taken the. I mean, these are the katakana characters. Now,
Right.
I cannot read Japanese, so I cannot say what this is, but
Correct.
I know for sure that these are the characters that you see in the digital.
Yeah,
realm. Alright.
yeah.
So
cool.
yeah. So what I have done is I've just basically taken these katakana characters and I've created like an array.
Right.
So these would be put into our. I will be using them in our code to basically render whatever we have. And as per usual, I have the index.html page where I have the canvas ready, and I have an init function that just basically initializes everything. So how are we going to go about and render this? Now,
Right.
I've seen many implementations of it, and let me just show you one that I have seen happening. One of the most favorite implementations of a lot of people implement it in this way. So this is like a prior implementation of the same digital rain effect, but it doesn't basically capture or it doesn't show exactly what's happening over here. All right, so
Not
you
at
just
all,
have a
yeah.
set of string arrays that just fall from the top of the screen to the bottom. So I have like a different implementation now. I've basically improved upon this so that it basically captures exactly what you see in the movie.
Correct.
Now I know I have seen other screensavers that also render an image using this very same technique. So they would have like a back image and then the letters would fall in such a way that they would highlight only those highlighted areas in the image, thereby forming an image. We won't go up to that depth, but I think anybody can look at our code. They can take that code and port it to something
Very
something that
interesting.
could render that. That being said, how are we going to do this? Alright, so I have this one. So first things first, I'm just going to take the katakana characters and I'm going to put them into my code. Alright, so I have that ready. Number two, I'm going to so this is our canvas, by the way, so I'm just going to expand this. So this is our canvas where we're going to be drawing this. I'm just going to be filling this canvas with katakana characters. So just going to be basically dividing the screen into that many number of katakana characters. So I'm just going to have like a width and height. So so this screen is going to be filled with katakana characters. So let me just show you what I mean by that. Pretty simple. So we're going to have like a character width. Right? So I'm just going to declare a variable called character. Instead of saying width, say character size, because it's going to be size. And I'm going to say let the character size be 15. Alright. Once I have declared the character size, what do I need? I need to basically fill the entire screen with katakana characters. That's the idea that I have in mind. So, and this screen is, so how am I going to fill it? I'm just going to fill it into a two-dimensional array. Now that I have the character size, what will be so I need like a width and height of each character on this screen. This canvas, which is 1000 by 800. That's the plan. Alright, so now that I have the character size, let's start by creating the X and Y positions. Would that be it? Or would that, I just need a character array, alright, and it will be a two-dimensional array and it will be filled with katakana characters. Alright, so I'm just going to call this or screen array. And I'm going to leave it blank because this needs to be dynamically filled. I'll get to that in just a second. So I have this. So basically, this is just a two-dimensional set of characters, katakana characters. So I'm just going to call it char array. All right. What will be the size of this character array? So it needs to fill the width and the height. So the number of columns so I need the number of columns and the number of rows that I'm going to have, right? The number of columns and the number of, the number of columns and the number of rows that I need to fill. So how many columns would I have? Column count would be the width of the screen or the width of the canvas divided by the char size, right? So that is how much I'm going to have. Now this needs to be a very round number. This needs to be an integer, and the reason for that is because this is going to be the size of the array. So I'll say, so I'm going to say math.ceiling. I'm not going to use the floor because I do want it to overflow. I mean, it's okay if it overflows the screen a little bit. By the way, the ceil also it returns a float value. So I want to So I want to make sure that I convert it into and the same goes for the row size. So math.ceil height by character size. Alright, so now I have the number of rows and the number of characters. So I can just go ahead and say where I is equal to 0. Once again with the I and the okay. So now, so this is my character array. Now let me declare it. That was for nothing, but that was not for nothing, but that's fine. So I'll say character array is equal to new array of call count. I mean, so that's the number of columns it's going to have. And each one of these would be the row count. Alright, so now I have both of these. Now what? Now I need to fill this character array with a random element from one of these katakana characters. Right? What does that mean? So I'm going to say, so I need basically a random index. So I'll just say where our index is equal to, so I can use our inbuilt function random between 0 and katakana characters length -1. So give me a random index from one of these and no, I need to have an inner array also. So where j is equal to 0, j less than row count, j plus plus, and then I need to do this, right? So character array of I of j is equal to katakana characters of our index. You know what? If I'm not wrong, this random between returns an it returns a float number. So I'm going to do a parse int. Do I need to worry about? No, you know what? I'm not going to worry about this. So now I have this character array, and as per usual, let's try and console log it to see if it actually prints what I have. Console is not a function. Oh, of course it's not a function. Console.log. Alright, so there you go. So that's your array. And why does it have 54? Of course it has 54. I've made the console a little bit bigger, by the way, because I just realized in our last screen it was not coming. So there you go. So now you have a two-dimensional array containing this one. So now all I need to do is basically render them on the screen. Alright. So let me create another function, and I'm going to call it render digital rain. It's not going to render the actual digital rain as yet, but eventually we'll get there. So I have this function. I don't need this. I don't need this. All I need is the character array. So I basically need a way for it to be rendered, right? So how do I render it? First things first, let me just clear the screen or paint the background of the screen with black.
Correct.
Context dot. So that's the digital rain context dot. No. Fill style is black, right? Dot begin path dot fill rect 0, 0, width, height, and your context dot fill. I know the fill rect is supposed to do the fill also. We don't need this fill statement technically. I'm just going to go ahead and put it. For now, I'm going to print these characters in, let's say, white, right? So that's FF. So now I have this. So all I have to say is dr context dot fill text. Wait. What do you mean? Where do you have to fill it? You need an X and Y position. So where X would be I into the char size, X would be, Y would be J into char size. I hope I'm right about this. All right. Do what at this position? Just put this character at this X and Y position. And finally, call this render digital ring at the init function. That's all I do. Let's see if it does it. Oh yeah, so there you go. So that about does it. Oh
wow.
You know why the fonts look smaller? That's because we've not set the font size. So that we need to correct. So before we begin anything, let's set the font size. We'll make it bold so that the characters look bold and everything. Alright, so that would be dr context dot set dot font is equal to bold followed by the size. The size would essentially be whatever character size we've given. Plus character size plus pix and then what? We want this to be mono font so that it's even from all sides, whether it is the height or the width. It's even from all of those things. So there you go. So that basically fills up the entire screen. Right? Yeah. So the now going back to this, if you look at it, the characters keep on changing.
Right.
And apparently in the Matrix universe,
correct,
every change of character means something in the background. Something else is happening in the background. Alright? So we need a way to basically just make sure that we randomly change these characters every now and then. Alright?
True.
But yeah. So fortunately, we already have this character array, and we just need to pick a random index from one of these and then keep on changing it, right?
Yeah.
So in this render thing itself, we can just say, give me a random I index, which is basically just random between 0 and call count, right?
Yeah.
Where random j is equal to random between 0 and row count. Or just give me a random index. Or remember that indexes can always be, a random between returns a float. So I need to convert it to, hey, hold on, it's call count -1. Is it -1? Yes, it is -1. Yeah. I'm going to use the math.floor just so that I'm on the safe side, and then basically convert it into an integer. We should probably create like an inbuilt function that will just do this for us instead of doing it over and over again. Yeah. But we've come in too far into the into the episode to make any changes right now. So we'll just stick with this. So now I have a random index and everything, and all I have to say is character array of random I or of random j is equal to a new random character. I just basically take this, right? I also need one more random. So I have this thing and say katakana characters of our...
Not katakana character.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, basically just replace it with a random katakana character.
Sure.
Now here is what will happen. So one of these is... by the way, we are not we're not basically looping through it. For now, I'm going to say set timeout this thing at, let's say, a 50 millisecond delay. Alright, it's good enough for us to do this. So you'll say, where it is. So you can see only one of those characters change every now and then.
Correct.
But we want all of them to be changing. Or many of them to be changing. But that's easy to do. If I want many of them to be changing, I can just say where I is equal to 0. How many of them do I need to be changing? I'll just put an arbitrary number 150, for example. Alright? I'm saying do this entire thing 150 times. Now let's see what it looks like. So now you have a lot of these character changes that are happening.
Yeah.
Alright? Now here's the thing. My whole intention is to basically hide these characters. I'm right now I'm drawing them with white. My intention is that I'll hide these characters. I'll not show them. I'll only show them when a highlight is happening. Alright? What do I mean by highlight? Basically, the characters are always there. And what I want to do is that when a specific character is being highlighted, it starts off green, bright green, and then it sort of fades into black. That's my intention over here.
Correct.
Okay, so now let me just show the things back, but let me make it gray. All right. So I'm going to say 999999 so that they don't appear that bright and out of place. All right. So now I have this.
Yeah.
So I need a way to basically start with a color and then fade to black. It's actually quite a difficult operation to fade colors, but I mean I think I have a technique, and the technique I'll use is I'll just go to let me just open Pinta. Pinta is the paint application of Ubuntu, and I'm just going to pick an arbitrary bright green color. So I'm just going to take this nice bright green color. Is that bright enough? No, let me make it a little bit more brighter. Is that bright? Okay.
No, that's less bright now.
That's less bright. Okay, so let me go here. And let me take this. So what will happen is it will basically, see this fade over here?
Yeah.
See this fade?
Yeah.
So it will basically start off like nice and this thing, and then it will basically go like this.
And
then that's my,
black. Correct.
And then it will basically fade to black.
Yes.
That's my intention, but it's not looking green enough for me.
Right.
So what am I missing? So I should basically start like this and then go,
correct.
go over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just, okay. So now I have like a starting green color. I'm going to make it like nice and like almost
white,
blinding white. So I have like a reference color to go.
Correct.
All right. So this is my red, green, and blue. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to initialize a starting red, a start red, a start green, and you will see that the green color is the one that is
changing.
That is the. Alright, so I have a start green and then I'll have a start blue also. Just going to call them 3 letters. Alright. How do I darken them? I mean, how do I? How do I dim them? I basically have to reduce an amount from them until they all become 0.
Right.
That's it. Until all of them become 0. Okay. That's the intention that I have. That's it. So now I have a start. So and I'm going to put them all. So basically this is where the color gets initialized, and they get initialized only once. That's the intention here. So let me create a. I'm going to call it fade color array. All right, and this is going to be. I mean, I'm just going to leave them like this. So how much do I fade them by? Okay, now let's look at this digital rain once again, and the question I'm asking is how long does it take? So let's say a letter gets highlighted here. How long does it take for it to get faded away? How many steps are there in it getting faded away? That's the question I have here. All right. So just going to call it steps or fade steps, and I'm just going to say 20. So this bright green color in 20 steps should be completely faded. That's
Correct.
my idea over here.
Got it.
All right, so let me initialize the colors. So before I initialize the characters, I'll initialize the colors.
Right.
What I'll do is I'll take like the so if I have to reduce 20 each time, how many steps or how many times or how long is this fade color array so that it takes in exactly 20 steps it will become black. That's the intention here. All right, and because green is like the highest color, I'm going to say so that's the fade steps. So the size of the fade color array or size would be whatever is the highest color in this case green, divided by the number of steps I wanted to fade it by. All right. So no fade, no, I'm sorry about this. So fade color array would be of size 20. All right, and I'm going to call this decrement color would be the amount of decrement that I have to do at each step would be start green divided by the number of steps. So I have to reduce the color by this much amount and put them into this fade color array. All right. So before we even get over there, the intention I have is this fade color array would be an array which is consisting of hexadecimal colors. So this is a what do I mean by that? I mean, it will be of the form FF77. It will be like that. It will be an array of this.
Correct.
That's the intention I have here. So I have the fade color array, which is an array of things that look like this. All right. So I need a way to basically convert this integer into its equivalent hexadecimal value.
True.
Which is very easy to do in JavaScript, because in JavaScript you have a function called just toString. So if I have a variable, say SS, and I say SS's value is 230, right? I can just say SS dot toString of 16, which is base 16, and you can see that it returns E6.
Oh, so nice.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I mean, yeah. So that's an easy way to do it. So if I just say SS of, or let's say SS is equal to 100, and I can say SS dot toString to 16 decimal. I mean, sorry, base 16 would be 64.
Correct.
Right? So that's an easy way for me to do it. So I can just basically use this to generate the hexadecimal colors. I think the only drawback with that would be if I said SS is, let's say, for example, 3 or something, and then if I said SS dot toString, it returns
3.
just 3. Yeah, I mean, which is correct, but this is like a single dimension. This is a single length. I mean, it should technically be 0, 3. It doesn't do that. So just so that I can have a function called, just so that I can properly convert it into a 2-digit hexadecimal color, I'm going to open our file, the API file, and I'm going to put a function over there called toHex. Now remember, I'm putting this in the API, so I'm going to call it toHex, and it will give you, I mean, it can take a number and say where hex is equal to number dot toString of 16. All right. Now if hex dot length, I think it's just length, is less than 2, then hex is equal to 0 plus hex, return hex. So now I have a function that will take something like 255 and convert it to, let's say, its hexadecimal value FF, and it will always return a 2-digit of this thing. So now I have that function. Coming back to our file, what I'll do is I'll say for where I is equal to 0, I less than the number of fade steps, I plus, oops, okay, where just going to say, so this is my start red, all right. So I'll say start red, first let me convert it into its, yeah, I mean, I should basically first convert it into its hexadecimal value and then create the color. So the color is equal to start red dot, no, see, sorry, our function toHex, and I'm going to say start red. So now I have the start red, right? Oh, yeah, sorry, this should be hash plus toHex of start red plus 2 start green and then blue. So now I have the exact color that we need. So it's hash red, green, and then blue. So I have these. Now I'll start reducing. How much will I reduce? I'll reduce exactly this much. So start red minus is equal to this thing. Now if instead of doing that if and everything, I can just say if start red is equal to, if start red is less than 0, then just keep it at 0 or else keep it at start red. I'm going to do the same for green. Oh, I'm sorry, what is this? I switched the ternary operators like an idiot. Yeah, that's the ternary operator for. I think everybody knows what a ternary operator is. The same goes for blue as well. Alright, so I hope I have gotten this right. Oh, I'm sorry. It's start green, green, blue, blue. Alright. And this color, I just need to basically put it into our fade color array. Fade color array is equal to of I is equal to this color. I'm just going to say console.log fade color array, just so that we can see if the colors are being created.
Sure.
Right? Or yeah. So if I do this, yes. So there you go. So that's the color, and then you'll see that finally it comes to what is this dot 8 and all. So you can see that it starts from AF84, and then what is this dot 4? So that's weird. That's weird. I'm going to have a look at the 2hex function. Sorry, open recent. Whatever. Open this. So if the hex dot length, right? I mean, it is the length, correct? If hex dot length is less than 2, then hex is equal to 0 plus hex. Hold on. So yeah, so that's correct. This is correct. So why is it not? So if I said if it is 0, hold on. Is it going below 0 by any chance? Because look at this. So this is 00C dot. Yeah, you see, okay, this is much better to see. But I can see 97. So A4 became 97. But then what is this dot and everything? What's going on with our code? So I have the red that is decrementing. I have the green that is decrementing. What am I doing wrong? Don't want to spend a lot of time on this one because this is just color fading. If start green is less than 0, then make it 0, or else just let it remain as start green. All right, just going to say, because I think this is the one that is giving us problems. Of course. So remember, this fade color array, this decrement is basically start green divided by, right? So this is basically a float. Got it. I'm going to be a little bit, I'm just going to say parse int of this. That's it. So that our decrement, so there you go. So that's our thing. And you can see what's happening here. You can see that the color basically reduces and then it comes to this gray, to this very, very light green,
right?
Essentially. So that's
very, very dark green.
Very, very, yes, very, very dark green. That's correct. Right. So I do not need the console log anymore. So that's about it. So now I have the faded colors also. Going back, if I highlight one of these, then basically what should happen is that it should start with green and then run through the array until it reaches something. So how am I going to handle that? So now I have the character array. I'm also going to create something called as the highlight array. What do I mean by that? Just going to put a placeholder over here. I'm just going to think about it for just a second. Where am I setting the color for these? This is where I'm setting the color. All right. So for each character, I just basically need to set up. I just basically need to set up a color. So how do I do that? I can say, yes. This is why I need the highlight array. So now I have the highlight array. This is basically also going to be just like the character array, but instead it will have the highlight value of that specific pixel, all right? Or where it stands in that highlight array.
Right.
All right. So along with this one, I'm going to just say highlight array is also a new array which has the same number of columns. Highlight array is also something, the same number of rows. It will also have the same number of rows, and highlight array of I of j would always start with, let's say, minus 999. I'm just going to give it an arbitrary value, which means basically it is not highlighted at this point, is what I'm trying to say. Now, if this highlight array, so instead of doing this, I can just say if highlight array of this thing is minus 999, then make this black color. This should technically be black. Basically, if it is not being highlighted, make the background, make the text black. Else, make this fill style would be equal to whatever is whatever this fade color array is there, right? So basically, what is this highlight color? So it will have, so basically it will start with minus 999. But if I want to say I want you to highlight this one, it will say start with the top element of the highlight of this fade color array and go to the end. That's the intention I have. All right. So if it is not that, then the fill this thing would essentially be fade color array of whatever is in this highlight, whatever value we have this one.
Okay.
All right. Now let's just arbitrarily take some value and then highlight it. All right. So I have this one. So I have the highlight array, this thing. So of, let's say, 10 of 10 is equal to whatever is the fade color length, right? What is that? Fade color array dot length. So basically I'm saying highlight this one. Let's just see if it renders it.
Okay.
It do not need this. So it should, so there you go. So that's, so it is basically highlighted over here. You're not able to see it. But it should be 0. Let's say I just call it 0. There you go. So that becomes highlighted. I also wanted to basically run down that array. All right. How do I do that? So I just basically create another loop, and at the very end I can just say, take this highlight array. If it is minus 999, just if it is not equal to minus 999, highlight array plus plus. So basically just run through this thing. I don't need anything else. You get it, right? So basically I have the character array which is being rendered. Then I have this one. Then I have the highlight array. The highlight array basically it highlights a character, but then it runs through the array. Right. I mean, if it is not minus 99, just add it. If the size of this becomes greater than fade color array or fade steps, right? I mean, whatever. Or fade color array dot length, right? Fade color array dot length minus 1, then you don't have to highlight it anymore. Just mark it as minus 999. Right? I mean, basically, if it exceeds the array, just don't do anything. Make it as minus 999. Forget about it. So that this guy will just put it in this color. Let's see if that works. Alright. So can you see that fading? Can you see that fading? Yeah. Wow. So you can see that fading, right? Here's the thing, I can make this fade steps longer also. So I can make it 40 so that it remains. Okay, let me also make the characters a little bit bigger for now. We can make it smaller later. Alright, so there you go. You saw that, right?
Yeah.
Alright, let's do it again. So you saw that fade. So that's the intention. So that's what I have. That's it. We are basically ready with simulating this.
Right.
Now let's say, for example, if I made this fill style this, you will see that this character glows and then it goes.
Right.
So we are ready with everything. Now all I need is another array which can just say, okay, here is a random column. Start highlighting everything in this column from the top to the bottom. Start from the top and just go to the bottom. That's all I need, right? So, so can we do so? So now, yeah. So now that I have this, we can like go ahead and get started with that. Okay. So to do that, I'll just create another function. Called highlight not color, but highlight column. So basically what this will do is it'll just take any random column and it'll say start highlighting, start from the top and start highlighting the characters from the top to the bottom. So how do we do that? So I can just say take any random column. So I can just so let me just take this. I'm just going to copy this piece of code, all right, for now, so that I have a random column. So that I now have, okay, so now that I have a random column, I don't need this. So this is my random column. I can say for where I is equal to 0, I less than row count, I plus plus. So now I have columns and I have rows. I'm going to call this column. All right. I can say highlight of column of I or I comma column. No. Yeah. It is I comma column. It's I comma the same column. Oh man, what am I doing? What am I doing? Is that a row or a column? Yeah, no. It should be column. Yeah. Column of I, all right, is equal to, let's say, the fade color array. Oh no, it should just be 0 because it starts from the so it takes a random column. So it takes a random column and highlights the entire, and it starts highlighting the entire row. Yes, this is where so it will choose a random. Okay, so if I call this multiple times, it just basically starts highlighting the rows in a very random fashion. We don't want that. We should basically, okay, here we go. So I'm going to say highlight column, column, highlight column. Yeah, I'm just going to call it highlight column or H column. All right, so this will be a random column and H row. So this will be so this will be the highlight row. So it basically needs to start highlighting a column and also a specific row, but it needs to go through the row one after the other. That's the intention here. All right, so now these, when I'm initializing it, that's where I'm going to declare them. So I am not going to be initializing them here. I'm going to be initializing them over here. So this would be the highlight column is equal to some random column. Highlight row is equal to 0 because it needs to start from the top. All right, render digital rain, and instead of this, it would say H column of H row is equal to 0, H row plus plus. All right, so that every loop it will start basically going through this one. I think that's the or yes. All right, or at least that's the intention I have. So now if the H row becomes greater than row count minus 1, so basically it's finished doing it. If it is finished doing that, I'm going to say just go ahead and pick a new one. Just go ahead and pick a new random column.
Okay.
That's it. Okay, and then I'll call this highlight column from within this render digital rain itself, and let's see how that goes. There you go. All right. So you can see that it starts fading and then it starts taking a new this thing. Let me reduce the number of fading.
So I say it's taking a lot of time.
Taking a lot of time.
Correct.
So I can do this. So there you go. So that's exactly like how we are
Right.
used to essentially seeing this one.
Right.
But you can see that it is only doing this only once,
Right.
only one column,
Column
per,
per-
yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, so all we have to do is basically say do multiple columns and multiple rows at the same time. How do I
Correct.
do that? I can just say so we let's create a variable that says okay, do this many rows and this many columns. I'm sorry, these many columns at the
Columns.
same time.
Right.
So I can just say column count.
Mm.
I'm running out of variable names now. This is like okay. First things first, I'm going to call this h call, not h column, because it seems out of place.
Okay.
Yeah. Alright, so now I have that sorted out.
Mm.
I can just say h size. I'm just going to say highlight size, or the number of columns that is going to be highlighted.
Sure.
Number of columns that is going to be highlighted would be, let's say arbitrarily, I'm just going to say 30.
Mm.
Each time pick 30 rows and then start highlighting them.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So here we go again. Of I is equal to this, of I is equal to this. So I have this in my highlight column, highlight array of h. Oh yeah, this needs to be in the loop as well, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So this needs to be in the loop, and this would be h call of I. God man, there are too many arrays to keep track of.
Yeah.
But trust me, if you're writing this thing by yourself, it would make sense. So don't worry about this too much. All right. Hopefully this is basically done. Oh, of course. Type cannot. Property 0 of undefined. Yeah, that's because we would have not.
We didn't make
we
it.
didn't make it. So this h call and h row we have to initialize. So h call is equal to new. Oh, hold on. Why am I doing it like this? I can just put it here itself. New array of h size.
Mm.
So there you go. So that's all. So yeah. So number one, what's happening is they are all starting at the same row.
Correct.
Right? We should basically start them at different rows, but you get the
Sure.
yeah, and that's just a simple tweak. And yeah, what do? I just take basically the same thing, change it for row. All right, and I'm not going to start them at. I mean, I'm not going to say take from any row. I'm just going to say take from any top of the row. Start highlighting from anywhere on the top of the row. So if I do that, you'll see that then it starts to sort of but they'll all start to like follow the same pattern over and over again. So once again, we can just take this and put it in this initialization, because we are starting. So once it reaches the bottom, it basically starts from the top. I'm not saying start from the top. I'm saying start once again from any place. I mean, you can basically start from any place. So that's your matrix digital rain. Exactly how it was intended. These characters are a little bit too big, but we can make them
big.
Our original 15. So that's number one. We did start with set timeout of 50. I do feel this is a little bit slow, so I'm just going to use the request animation frame so that it can basically go as fast as it is possible for it to draw the frame. And when you do that, you'll see that this basically starts
very cool
doing the matrix digital rain. Yeah, that's about it. That's actually all I had to show for the matrix digital rain. There are many things you can tweak on this one. Like the fade strength, or how many characters you want it to draw.
Right.
And all of those things. And I have seen people do this in Python also. They used a combination of Python and curses and then do this.
So cool.
Yeah.
But nice. Yeah.
Nice, right? It looks nice to look at. Yeah, the matrix digital rain. No, I've heard So that's about the yeah. So I've heard that they are Matrix 4 is coming out.
Oh really?
Yes.
Oh, they're doing reboot of it, huh?
Not reboot,
Uh-huh.
but it's
is the cast changing or what?
yeah,
what have you heard?
the cast and everyone
Everybody's
is changing.
changing. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the old characters
They are just too old.
I think there will be some appearances by Morpheus.
Yeah,
and
something. Yeah, they
something
might
like
just
that, yeah.
have a flashback or something. Okay.
I don't know how the Matrix would be without Agent Smith.
Or
Right.
Neo also.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting.
You know, a lot of people didn't like the Matrix 2 and 3.
Yeah, I
think-
didn't like
yeah,
it. Yeah. Not as much as. Yeah.
Matrix 1,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was truly groundbreaking. Matrix
Mm.
1 was truly groundbreaking.
Yeah, very, very cool.
Matrix 2 and 3, not so much, because I think they did a lot of fan service to.
Yeah.
I mean, they basically just wanted to cover fans from all the geographies and everything. So,
Yeah.
but you know, having been through so many, you know, after so many years, it seems like the most logical conclusion. I'll tell you why. See, I think we discover in the movie that the machine civilization itself is some 2,000, 3,000 years old. Right? He says, right?
Yeah.
The architect, there is a
Yes.
very famous
Arcane.
architect scene
Yeah.
with ergo and all of those words, you know, those very complicated words. But
Yeah.
what he tries to say is that you are the sixth
Correct.
iteration of this entire thing, and
Yeah.
we've been getting it. What's the word he uses? We've been getting exceedingly efficient at it.
Right.
Rest assured, this is the sixth time we are doing it, and we are getting exceedingly efficient
Right.
at it. It's a very beautiful scene, covered in a lot of complex words.
Yeah.
But yeah, the point I was trying to make is, if something lasts for 2,000 years, right? There is no way that you're going to be able to remove it. The only way forward is coexisting. I think that was his point.
Right.
That was the point, that you cannot just remove something away. There is no defeating the machines as such.
Right.
There's only coexisting from, and I think that's where they ended the whole thing. Coexistence.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's about it. Don't forget about the giveaway that we
yeah.
have, right? You know, like, share, and comment. Especially comment at least
Right.
on this week's video.
Yeah.
As soon as we get the calendars, we'll ship them out to you.
And they'll have. Do they have to send in their emails as well as
so
part of
most
the comment?
of the people who comment,
Yeah.
I think they
They
have
have
their
the
email
YouTube.
addresses on
Okay.
the
Accounts?
So on their accounts.
Sure.
So we'll.
Wow.
So if we cannot find the email address, we'll reply to the comment asking asking for them to send us an email so that we can.
Very cool. And so go ahead and start commenting.
Yeah.
Make it a useful comment, not just good. Make it a nice comment.
No,
Yeah.
man. A lot of people do that.
Okay.
You know, says to comment something very specific.
Yeah.
But no.
Okay,
Comment
any
your
comment.
heart out. It doesn't matter what you want to comment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes, that's about it. I think I'm ready for a tea right now.
And for the Holo 12,021, are we ready for that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good. So have a great new year.
Yeah. Have a very great new year. I know 2020 has not been the best of years. 2021 hopefully is better. And on that note, thank you so much. See you all next year.